What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined as always by my dad, Sean, and today, reactions to the classics. We got a Jefferson Starship Top 10 Songs list, courtesy of our patron, friend of the channel, D. D, you gave us a Jefferson Airplane list last month, and so it was just natural to continue on to Jefferson Starship. Looking forward to this list, y'all. Before we dive into the quick facts and kind of give you a little history and overview of Jefferson Starship, if you like this video today, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you like what you see, hit that big red subscribe button, and if you'd like to support the channel in any way, help keep the lights on here at RTTC, and have us maybe react to something, you can check out our Patreon page down below, and be sure to follow us on Twitch and Facebook as well. But all that to say, Dad, I guess we can get into these quick facts, and I would encourage y'all to also check out, as I mentioned, that Jefferson Airplane Top 10 list as well.
Well, D sent us some info, which, you know, we always say this on every top 10. If you're bringing a top 10 to us, you obviously have passion for the artist, so I always like to put what you say, because you're going to know the artist better than us 99% of the time. So D says, in 1970, Paul Kantner released a, quote, solo album called Blows Against the Empire. Accompanying him on the effort was a group of musicians called the Planet Earth Rock and Roll Orchestra.
Love that name.
This is comprised of musicians from Jefferson Airplane, the Grateful Dead, CSNY, Quicksilver, Messenger Service, and other Bay Area groups. The album had a theme of a group of people bonding together and leaving the Earth on a, wait for it, yeah, Trey, a starship. In a very unnoticeable place on the record sleeve, it mentions Jefferson Starship. That became the very loose name of this group of musicians. The next year, in 1971, he and Grace Slick released Sunfighter with no mention of the group. Kantner had met a high school student named Craig Chaquiso who played guitar. He was included on one number from Sunfighter. He would become Jefferson Starship's lead guitarist. Cool. 2 years later, in 73, Paul and Grace, along with David Freeberg, who Kantner had teamed up with in a folk duo in the early 60s, also a member of the Quicksilver Messenger Service, released an album titled Baron von Tollbooth and the Chrome Nun, which may pop up on this list. Nicknames given to Kantner and Slick by David Crosby.
Hey, it all connects, man.
Of course, man, he might have been doing some artificial substances at the time. Again, there were many musicians from the Bay Area. This was the first album that began to define Jefferson Starship's sound.
And then in 1974, Grace released a solo album titled Manhole, which included a bassist/keyboardist named Pete Sears. He also did some co-writing with her, joined the band, sharing those duties with Freeberg. And then we had John Barbada, who had played drums with the Turtles and CSNY, joined as a drummer, and then we had Papa John Creech. Don't you love all these names, man? He was in both Airplane and Hot Tuna, joined on electric violin. They toured under the name Jefferson Starship in early 74 and went into the studio. Then they released the album Dragonfly in that same year. To a lot of people's surprise, it contained a song co-written by Kantner and Marty Balin, who of course is the founder of Jefferson Airplane, and that song was called Caroline, featuring Balin singing lead vocal. He officially joined the group then in January of 75, and they released their next album, Red Octopus, later that year. It contained the Balin ballad Miracles, which was the largest hit the band ever had, topping out on 3 on the Billboard chart. The album went on to chart at #1 and go multi-platinum, and in August of 75, Papa John left the group in search of a solo career.
Well, their next album, Spitfire, was released in 76, also went platinum. The Balin ballad Your Love charted at #12 on Billboard. The album reached #3. They went on to record Earth in 78. It also went platinum, hit #5 on Billboard. The singles, again by Balin, were Count on Me, charting at 8, and Runaway, charting at 12. So they're still maintaining quite a bit of success. Since they were having great recording success, they toured throughout 74 through 78. Also during this time, Grace had increasing problems with alcohol. In January of 78, in a concert in Germany, she passed out and was unable to perform. The show was canceled and rescheduled, but the audience rioted.
Oh, man.
They destroyed much of the band's equipment. They had another show the following night. Grace made it to the stage drunk and started swearing at the audience and calling them Nazis. Probably not a good thing. Trey, responsible for the atrocities in World War II. It was so ugly a scene that Paul demanded she resign from the band right there.
That is quite the story. I had never heard that.
I had never heard that either.
And then we go to October of 78. Marty Balin left the band, citing an aversion to touring. In the same month, John Barbada was in a serious auto accident. 78, not a great year. He left the band to recover. This left the band with no drummer or lead singer. Then we had Mickey Thomas, who had sung the lead on Elvin Bishop's hit fooled around and fell in love, was asked to audition, and then he joined the band in March of 79. And then we had Ainsley Dunbar was recruited from Journey to take over drumming duties in January of 79.
Maybe not the best move for Ainsley. I don't know how that turned out. But.
The new lineup started playing smaller clubs to get whatever kinks were left while getting used to the new personnel. That year they released Freedom at Point Zero. It included the single Jane, which was a top 20 hit, so still getting that chart success. There's new energy to their playing, so they toured extensively. Then we go to 81. They released their next record, Modern Times. One cut, Stranger, included a familiar voice. Grace Slick joined Mickey Thomas for lead vocals, and their voices blended terrifically, and Grace remained in the band from then on.
So 3-year little reprieve for her. All right, so they had 2 more albums. One's a change in 82, Nuclear Furniture in 84. What a name. At that point, Paul had artistic differences with the rest of the group. They wanted to record pop hits and play stadiums. He didn't. The lawsuits started flying back and forth. From then on, the name Jefferson Starship was owned by Grace Slick, 51%, and their on-again, off-again manager, Bill Thompson, 49%. The group then continued under the name Starship, which, of course, I knew as a teen. They had a few more hits, but people left over the next few years. David Freeberg, right after the initial lawsuits were settled. Pete Sears in 87. Grace left in 88. A renamed group, Starship, featuring Mickey Thomas, that was the full name of the group, started touring in 92, pops up from time to time. There have been a few different versions of Jefferson Starship, including one led by David Freeberg that continues to this day with Grace's permission. They released an album, Jefferson's Tree of Liberty, in 08, and Mother of the Sun in August of this year. Paul Kantner died in 2016. Unfortunately, Marty died in 2018. Grace Slick is retired. The only thing I have to add to this from my research is between 74 and 84, they released 8 gold or platinum selling studio albums, had 9 top 40 singles. So just still some really good chart success for them over a long period of time, if you want to add in the Airplane and the Starship and the other Starship.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you to D for that.
Thank you, D. That's fantastic. I couldn't have done any better. I researched him up. I'm like, you know what? D has this written out way better than I would.
No, great history, and I'm glad Grace was able to come back after the unceremonious departure. So let's get this list started, ladies and gentlemen. As always, we're going to have lyrics pulled up for all these tunes, and music won't be in the YouTube video, but as with all our top 10 lists, there will be a free link down below if you want to check out the music in the video. So we're going to start this off with a 6-minute, 40-second tune, St. Charles from Spitfire in 76. D noted this song reflects Paul's continued interest in anything Asian. He was writing a lot of big production songs, and this is his best.
Wow, nice. Thanks again, D.
I got to shout out Craig Giachiso, who just came in killing it on the guitar, man, especially at the end. Yeah,
obviously. I think throughout the song, the guitar was the highlight for me. I thought it was a good vibe, though, the whole song. I really liked the atmosphere. Sounded really nice, but the guitar is just... next level, man. It was so good.
And Grace came in on backing a little bit. Just had a really relaxing atmosphere, especially at the start, and then coming in, and then obviously the Asian influences all throughout here, talking about the silk and velvet disguise, moving like a lady, looking like a dragon princess. He essentially is having this dream is about this woman, and then that St. Charles motif is coming in here, singing about love. And we just had a lot of cool movements musically up in here, man. And it didn't feel like a nearly 7-minute
no, it was nice
long song at all, man. So, starting off on a great foot here, D, with that St. Charles number 10. And now we're going to go to Fast Buck Freddy. All these names, man.
Just, I was going to say, better you than me.
Just stand out here.
I would have read that Fast Break Freddy. I know what it is being a basketball guy. Off Red Octopus from 75. D says Red Octopus was their bestseller with its intentional turn towards the pop end of rock. I really like Grace's vocal. All right. Once again, I thought the guitar came in towards the middle of it and became the star. I like the vibe of it. I actually don't like it as well as the first song, but I do like it.
No, I'd agree with you there. I preferred St. Charles to this one, but
I did like this one too.
I thought Grace had a very strong vocal performance and again, Craig was putting in that kind of different style guitar work, and then. You got to watch out for those fast bucks, right?
You do, and I like the line in the second verse. Now it's hard to get serious when the Joker is laughing, and by now the Joker is wild. It's hard to keep laughing when a rich man's reflection looks like a gun that's going to smile. So I thought that was pretty cool. I like that wordplay early on.
So I like it. Kind of again a bit of a warning here.
Yeah.
Just go out, watch out for those wild jokers. Watch out for those fast bucks. Because then that fast buck Freddy, who knows, man? He might be coming to make a fast buck off you before you know it. But
that's true.
Then we're gonna go now to Stranger, which is song number 8 on this list from Modern Times in 1981. D noted this was the first recording when Grace returned to the band. If there was a question if her voice would blend with Mickey's, this answered it with a resounding yes. Man, what another great track. I'm really liking this list so far. I might have liked it more than St. Charles, actually.
Yeah, it was right up there with me. Yeah, I thought the lyricism was very nice on this one too. Obviously the guitar is something that becomes a recurring theme here, but also the drumming, which you mentioned, the percussion was fantastic.
Well, and Pete Sears as well on bass. That whole rhythm section was
great,
on fire. And I like the mystique that was around the song too. And we never really figured out who the stranger was. So there's still that question.
No, and I like at the end, what is veiled now soon will be shown. Come walk with me through the unknown. What is veiled now soon will be shown. Familiar stranger, should I know your name? Did we meet some time ago? Are you someone I should know? Did we meet some time ago? So yeah, I do like the mystique of it for sure.
You think, is it a former lover? And then it's like with the eyes, it's like, what? You never know. You never know who this is exactly. So again, Grace and as Dee noted, Grace and Mickey were able to blend quite well with one another. And now we're already up to number 7 on the list. Ballad of the Chrome Nun here from Baron von Tollbooth and the Chrome Nun.
Yeah, and Dee says to me and you, Trey, but I'm going to read it just so. Fair warning, I know you two identify as Christian. This was a period when Grace and Paul were taking on organized religion in their music. This was the most gentle. Hey, me and Trey are not necessarily fans of organized religion. We're fans of the Bible. While the song was not technically Jefferson Starship, it had most of the same personnel. Craig had lead guitar, Jerry Garcia on pedal steel, David Crosby singing backup vocals. This is the first example of what the Starship sound was going to be. Cool. And just a reminder, this was the thing we talked about in the beginning. It was released in 1973, this collaborative studio album. So looking forward to checking it out.
All right, Ballad of the Chrome Nun coming in at number 7 right here, and you could definitely tell that Grateful Dead influence. Jerry
sure.
on there, a little bluesy on the guitar work here, and lyrically coming against the concepts of religion or whatnot.
Sure.
Just in the sense playing in with kind of like the cross metaphors as well, and the kind of funny and whatnot, with the whole anytime I laugh I got religion coming in there at the end, going as the kind of motif in the last half of the song. And this is 1973, definitely knowing the history of both of the groups, with the whole culture that they were in. I know the whole free spirit and love and whatnot pushed religion out of a lot of people's lives.
It did.
And and that's, I think, where they're coming from here. And I might not agree with it, but it was a good groove.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really care for the song, so it's just me. I don't care for the sound. Obviously, I don't care for the lyrics, but I always look past that stuff. But just not my kind of sound, man. Not my thing. But, to each his own, man.
And now we'll go to next track here. We got already at number 6, Girl with the Hungry Eyes.
Title, huh?
Going here from Freedom at Point Zero in 1979.
Dee said, when Grace and Marty left the band and Mickey Thomas joined, it seemed to put a bit of a fire in Paul. This song, while lyrically keeping his interest in science fiction, is a back-to-basics, bare-boned rocker with a little synth for fun. All right, 79, that synth is starting to come into play.
I know, Dad, you weren't a fan of Ballad of the Chrome Nuns music, and I can't say I was a bit. This is definitely my least favorite track.
See, now I like this one better, but that's the beauty of music, right? I always say, man, there's something for everyone, but everything is not for everyone. So I thought it just stuck in my head, the girl with the hungry eyes. So I actually appreciated it instrumentally more than I did the previous track.
I just and I think something about Mickey's voice here was a little off for me. It was a bit grating, maybe with the synth underneath, and I don't know. It was just
as Mickey goes on, with the Starship success in the mid '80s, we have a few people in the community that don't enjoy that either. So I get you.
It was just a bit busy for me personally, though. Again, the highlight for me was those that riff had a classic rock kind of riff in the middle, and that lead guitar was the standout if I had to pick.
Yeah, he did write it. He did a good job there. He wrote it. There's still all these science fiction elements.
You're right.
The love story stuck in the middle. So that, you're not going to, the lyricism's not something that's going to knock you out. But I like the vibe.
And you're right. It was a bit catchy with the girl with the hunger. Yeah, I just wasn't a fan of the
delivery.
You're
hearing it right now in your head.
Well, now we're going to go to Love Too Good, number 5 on the list. So we're at the halfway point from Earth in 1978.
Yeah, Dee said this song was a bit of a stretch for Grace. It has jazz and R&B influences, subtle, but they're there, which is something she rarely did. It's always been a favorite of mine. Okay, I'm looking forward to that. We're going to have a diversity here for 3 songs in a row now.
Love Too Good coming in at number 5 here, man. What you think of this one?
Yeah, definitely had the R&B feel, even a funk feel at different times in there. Just let it run, man. It is 1978 on overdrive for me. Just let those things go. I thought it had a really good sound to it, man. Much different, as Dee pointed out, than anything else that we've come across on this list. It would be presumptuous to think of anything that we're going to come about on this list. But it was more. It's definitely about the instrumentation and just the delivery of her vocals. I mean, the lyrics are fine, but it's more just about the vibe of the song.
No, really let that kind of smoothness ride out, especially the last couple minutes, and the piano was, tickling those keys there at the end, man. Fantastic, and Grace going from, White Rabbit 10 years prior to this.
True that. Good point.
Coming up to this, man, shows that range. You wouldn't, I would expect this to be more suited for a male voice, kind of for what we were going for, but I'm glad that they put Grace on it because it worked very well, and I mean, obviously the lyrics fit better. Love Too Good for a woman like me, baby. A little strange, I guess. If
they could have said for a man like me and just popped that in there.
But yeah, man, really smooth track. This might be in contention for my favorites at the end here. And now we're gonna move to number 4. We got Play on Love, going back to Red Octopus over here from 1975.
Yeah, and Dee says this is another great song that proves she could still write and sing top-notch material. This should have done better than it did. It was the second of 2 singles released from the album. 49 in the U.S., 46 in Canada.
All right, Play on Love.
There's definitely a chorus that will stick in your head.
Oh, yeah, simple and to the point, man. It definitely had some of that fast Buck Freddy atmosphere and vibe, as you would expect, being off of the same record. Liked it. Didn't love it, ironically enough. You like what I did there. But I think some of the other tracks on here just kind of hit me a little bit more instrumentally.
Right. Yeah, no, I thought it was fine, too. Same thing for me. They're a well put together song all the way around. There's nothing that, the lyrics are fine. I think they're pretty good. Now, when you open your mouth, what comes out? What's the first word? What's the first line? When you open your mouth and love comes out, then you just sang the clear line. Back to what you were saying about, the movement of love, even here in 75.
And, when he opens his mouth, is his first word love? Is his first line, I love you, you think? Is that what...
I think it better be. I think that's a message I get out of this from Grace.
Is that what
he must have played on love? That's why I think, that's probably what he said, because it seems like it worked out well.
I like it, she says, I've heard people say it 1,000 times, and then she says, reading it without living it. That's another kind of theme that comes through in this track as well. Later or earlier it notes living in stories and living in books, or we can live and leave all the stories behind. I kind of like that concept of putting away reading about something or doing this and actually going out and seizing the day,
doing it. Yeah,
so to speak. But now we're going to go to Caroline from the record Dragonfly in 1974.
Yeah, Dee says this was a big surprise in what was the first actual Jefferson Starship album. Co-written and sung by Marty Balin, who had co-founded Jefferson Airplane, left the group 4 years earlier. The outro is a great example of what Marty and Grace's combined vocals could do.
All right, Caroline coming in the 3 hole here, and I like, because we haven't had really much Marty on the list.
No, we haven't.
Up to this point, and I really enjoyed him on the Jefferson Airplane list, so cool to see him have a chance to shine, and especially in a track that's this long.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think, it starts off right away. I think the second line is just fantastic. Oh, what can I tell you, Caroline?
Yeah.
Should I hurt your feelings? Or keep on lying. I mean, he pretty much lays it out right there.
No, man, but one of the stronger tracks lyrically, I think, on this one. And
I do too.
Again, you had a couple mini solos from Craig that came up in here, which I enjoyed. And Grace popped up. Not a lot, but just a little bit to, again, kind of...
add a little punch.
Yeah, and add something a little different so the song, didn't become monotonous or whatnot. And, you can tell, man, this is just kind of a full-on love song out of here. I don't know any Carolines, or if I did,
I don't either, man. Not the popular name it once was. But.
I could go in that. He notes, you always fill my heart with wonder. You always fill my soul with love. You always fill my lips with kisses. You always fill my eyes with tears. So making Marty a bit emotional,
exactly.
Up here, man. So definitely worthy to be on this list, I think. We're going to go...
We're going to stay with those women titles.
Yeah, that's right. We go from Caroline to Jane here.
Don't know a Jane either, Trey.
I don't.
This is at Freedom at .0 from 79. Dee said this was the largest hit for the newly reformed band. Went to 14 in the U.S., 13 in Canada, man.
All right.
Check this thing out.
All right, Jane coming in at number 2. What you think of this one, Dad? Did you? I guess we can do a little song battle within our top 10 list. Did you like Jane or Caroline more?
I actually like Caroline more. Yeah.
See, I like Jane more.
Okay, there you go. That's a mark of a good list, then.
So, what you think of this one?
I liked it, man. I thought, I thought as we find in all this stuff, it's a recurring theme. The chorus is always pretty nice. Even though they don't have anthemic choruses, it does stick in your head, the Jane. And then the guitar is obviously... fantastic.
I was going to point that out,
and he starts out this one in the opposite vein of the
exactly,
last. Jane, you say it's all over for you and me, girl. There's a time for love and a time for letting it be, baby. Jane, you're playing a game called Hard to Get by its real name, making believe that you just don't feel the same. Oh, Jane. There's no way you can't feel the same way about me. Stop your game playing.
Yeah, so whereas Caroline, Marty was feeling, so in love, and anything
exactly.
could go. Here, Freeberg is coming in saying, hey, we're playing like this game of cat and mouse here, and don't you pretend you don't know what I'm talking about. I like that. And yeah, man, again, Jaquiso just really impresses me, man. His guitar work, it seems on all these songs, is the highlight instrumentally. Really, really
so good.
Top notch here as well, man. So that'll definitely be in contention, I think, for my favorite tracks. Just it was very catchy on top of all the other stuff we mentioned, and we're gonna finish it off
Numero uno, baby,
with Miracles from Red Octopus, 1975. D noted this is the Starship's largest hit, another of Marty Balin's romantic ballads, which included most of the group's best chart performers. Went to 3 in the U.S., was their biggest hit. However, the band would go on to have 3 number 1 hits under its later incarnation as Starship.
Yes, they would.
A little interesting to note.
The song was inspired in part by the Indian guru Satya Sai Baba, whose followers believe him to have been a miracle worker. It was also inspired in part by a woman Marty was in love with at the time. According to Marty, when he presented the song to the rest of the band members, quote, everybody went, I don't know about that. That's pretty weird, man. I was really worried. Nobody liked it. But I told myself after about 5 days, maybe they're wrong. And in order to secure more radio play for the song, the full-length album version, which is 6 minutes, 52 seconds, which, of course, is what we're going to listen to, was cut by more than half its length for the single, released at a length of 3 minutes, 25 seconds. It was not only done for length, but also to remove a sexual reference. So I don't know what that is, but be on the lookout for that one.
There we go. And after this show, we'll go into our favorite tracks from this list. But let's get to number 1, Miracles. All right, Miracles coming in as soon as it started, Dad. You knew that one.
I would have never thought that was them, just based on the sound of everything. I mean, this song, I said it during the reaction, it screams 1975. Like in a good way, but just smooth. It's everything of almost the, I don't want to say sappy, but almost just the sappy.
It kind of has that yacht rock type of vibe to it a little bit.
When I talked about they cut the song in half for the single, that would have been too much. This song was too long for me. They could have kind of made an in-between. Maybe about 5 minutes we could have settled for, but still going to be one of my favorites. I don't think there's a lot of, lyrical gold. I mean, it's good, but it's all about the harmonies
it's smooth
and just setting that tone. If only you believe like I believe, babe, and we get by.
Yeah, and it was like we kind of mentioned as the song was going, but it's almost like there was two separate vocal tracks going because the backing vocals were so prominent.
They're very well produced for 1975, for sure.
And I think those backing vocals was a very wise decision to bring in there. Not that Marty can't handle it by himself, but it again kind of added to that just overall easy listening nature and just to the overall smoothness of the track. You had a saxophone at the very end there, strings peppered in throughout, yeah, man, smooth tune, and I can see why it was such a big hit here and a big hit for D as well, coming in at the 1 hole. So all that to say, man, our list is done, and it's now time for our favorite tracks.
It is.
So I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
I'm going Jane. All right, that one was a latecomer in on my list. I got Love Too Good. I just thought that one was again so smooth. I thought Grace killed it, kind of with the R&B-esque. And then Stranger with Mickey and Grace's vocals kind of mixing together. It was back at number 8. I got to put that up in my favorites.
It's funny you chose that one because I'm going to go Stranger.
Okay.
I'm going to go Caroline, and I mean, no surprise, I'm going to go Miracles.
Got to go Miracles. Yeah, no, Miracles gets an honorable mention for me. For sure, man. But Jefferson Starship coming out, just wrapping it up. I was very impressed with the instrumentation on this
too.
as well.
Top-notch.
Shout out to Craig Jaquiso, man, a guy I'd never heard of, and just showing that talent throughout many different records and sounds and years. So I was really impressed with him, and Pete Sears' bass work as well was fantastic. Grace still was able to show she had it all the way up even through the 80s. So cool list here, and definitely has their own distinct flavor and sound compared to Jefferson Airplane.
For sure, yeah, and I think that's a mark of a really good group being able to evolve.
Yeah, those psychedelic influences, weren't really present on this list at all. They changed with the time. So thank you again to D. Let us know your favorite Jefferson Starship tracks down below, y'all. As always, I'd appreciate the research. And until next time, y'all, thanks for watching. Happy listening, and we will see you.